Hello, hello, hello. How you doing today? Terry Armstrong, co-founder of TCM Products, here with today's episode of Lemons to Lemonade: Stories of Perseverance. I hope everybody's doing well out there today. Getting close to the end of this first month of the year. I hope everyone's having a great start to their year. We really are excited about things we got going on for Lemons to Lemonade as well as for TCM as a whole. But once again, thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please subscribe to TCM Lifestyle on the YouTube channel so you can see all of our videos, not only Lemons to Lemonade, but also our new podcast, TCM Live, featuring Rance and Rance John, our other co-founder, and Yodi Moses. Please, please, please subscribe and check us out. We'd really would appreciate that. Well, today, I wanted to talk about the topic for today is you don't know what you don't know in 2022. And for entrepreneurs, it's a long journey, a long learning curve sometimes to go from absolutely nothing from a business a startup perspective to a ongoing entity that's thriving and providing not only financial resources for you, the business owner, but also maybe providing opportunities for other individuals. So one of the things I learned along the way in my long career, specifically in consulting, is one of the things we used to do is we used to have to walk into new environments and quickly get up to speed on what the status quo is. And a lot of times while you're doing that, you're in uncharted territory. And we all, as people, we all like to feel like we have a good grasp on what we know, or what we know, or how smart we are, how intelligent we are, what our skill sets are. But one of the things you find out, as specifically when you're a consultant and you're going into different industries, you can do a lot of research, but there are a lot of things that are a lot of unknowns that you got to deal with. And that's the way it is in business in general, especially when you're starting out, you're new, you could have worked in a similar environment in someone else's company. And 9 times out of 10, there were a lot of things going on you just were unaware of. And as we go into 2022, our next month's series of conversations on Lemons to Lemonade will be really about talking about how individuals have leveled up and onboarded the necessary skill sets, information, and behaviors to be successful, and how to go about identifying those. But you don't know what you don't know. One of the things as an entrepreneur, and this is really meant to be an encouraging topic for you, is a lot. I talked to a lot of new entrepreneurs, and they get frustrated because it feels like they're being overwhelmed by a lot of things they got to deal with that are unexpected. They just didn't think about it. And I will say this to you: we were all in that boat. If you're doing something, for me, my entrepreneurial journey was about quickly figuring out how can I make a way in this uncharted territory. How can I disrupt the status quo, create an opportunity for my businesses, and thrive? Well, to disrupt, you're typically going to be doing something that is not done on a regular basis or hasn't been done yet. So it stands to reason that doing something that hasn't been done yet, or in a way it hasn't been done before, there's no playbook for that. All the variables haven't been identified. You haven't seen this before, not done this way. So it stands to reason that you wouldn't know how to get it done. Now, a lot of us are very good at thinking on the fly, figuring stuff out quickly. But for some, especially in this entrepreneurial space, it can be a situation that makes you question whether you want to keep going, because you start thinking about the easy things that you don't know is how much something really costs to get done. That's the easy one that people tend to run into frequently. They have a lot of there's a lot of people who have skill sets similar to mine, where you can do some financial analysis, you can run some numbers, you can crunch some numbers based on a guess. What I find is, for me specifically, and I can't speak, I'm thinking that may be some similar situations out there, is as you dig into certain things. For me, it's launching new products. Um, you know, what does that process look like? I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm not a chemist by trade. I've worked with a lot of them, but when you start developing, for TCM, for example, when we started developing products, people, that you come in contact with, they start telling you oh, well, you got to do this, or what about this, how are you going to protect your intellectual property, your formulas, your branding, those, some things are very, how do you come up with these things? How do you get content created? How do you do this? How do you do that? Where do you store this stuff? How do you create labels for products? Where do you get components for? What's the price of them? What does it cost to ship these things? Where's the customer going to be 12 months from now in terms of their needs? These are things that, honestly, normally when you start in a business, that's not what you're thinking about. You're thinking about, there's a need, a specific need that you see. There's a specific idea on how to address that need. And a lot of times, even if we have, I know I did, and I know other entrepreneurs did as well. We sit down and we have these planning sessions, and we try to think about all the things that are required. And I'll give you some perspective. I've, with, me and Rance for TCM, I would say we easily sat down for 3 to 6 months thinking about what we want to do, how we want to do it. How do we get this done? How do we get, how do we acquire these products, these components? How do we get launched? Where are we going to try to sell? Who are we going to try to get influence? We spent a lot of time thinking about those things. And I would say, how, what is a website going to look like? What is your social media presence going to be? All of these things. And we did a pretty robust job of putting a business plan together, laying out all the details. And I would still tell you, we probably only got half of it identified. Once we got into it, and you get into the real world, you're actually manufacturing, you're actually spending money to get things done. You're actually trying to get new products launched and developed and launched. You're trying to establish relationships. There are so many things that you just don't know, and that's not the problem. The problem is, don't be overwhelmed by it. Okay, you have to take a step back and say, okay, I didn't know that. First of all, let me get familiar with that. And what I find is, as we get into new circles, you got to learn to ask questions. Hey, this is what I'm doing. We're currently doing X, Y, and Z. Is there something else we should be thinking about? That's a great question. Especially for what I find, a lot of business people, who are doing the same thing, they love to share the information. We want everybody to win. I know when people ask me, I love to share what I know, what I've learned, what I experienced, and I don't know everything. Nobody does. But the nuggets that I do have, I pass them on as quickly as I possibly can to anyone who will ask, and even on platforms like this. So, one of the things as we go into 2022 and we're trying to figure out how we level up and really take our business to the next level is, don't be overwhelmed. Ask the questions. Be okay with, oh, I didn't know that, because it's never about what happened. It's about what your response to it. You're gonna get punched in the jaw, okay, in business. You're gonna get blindsided. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. The very next thing you do is, okay, I didn't see that coming. Okay, how do we deal with this? Who do we need to talk to? Where do we get this information so we can quickly get up to speed and and get to the next thing that we're going to need to learn about to be successful? Because there will be a next thing. Also in 22, you don't know who you don't know. When I'm thinking of, you don't know what you don't know. When I'm thinking about that is, I'm also thinking about, I never took into account what this business for us, TCM, who it will impact. What impact will it have on other people's lives? Not only from a business financial perspective, just the impact on it and what our mission is. We want to help men be the best version of themselves, whatever that may be to them. And we started from a place of grooming and trying to help people look their best. But, I didn't know 24, 36 months ago that was going to be something different for us, the impact on people's lives. I've dealt with a lot of entrepreneurs, successful ones, who've grown businesses to, some huge levels. And one of the things I find amazing is most of the time we all get into this because we think there's a strong financial case, business case to go in business for ourselves. We feel like, I can make just as much money, doing something I want to do as opposed to maybe being employed for someone, and I'll have more control over it. A lot of us start that way, and nothing's wrong with that if that's your reason. But one of the things I never took into account is the people I was going to start touching. The people that were going to look at what I'm doing, what others are doing, and say, hey, that is really cool. I think, I've been thinking about something. I should, I should go ahead and do it. That little, being the catalyst of that thought is a real big deal to me, as well as to Rance. I think we sometimes, as entrepreneurs, we don't think about what kind of impact we really have on individuals. I was back in my corporate days. I came across a news article that was talking about, I forget his name, but I don't think he's the current CEO of Starbucks, but he was the CEO of Starbucks at the time. And he said, I'm in the people business. I'm not in the coffee business. I'm in the people business. And I think he understood. And, it took me some time to unpack that statement and really understand what he was saying, at least in my perspective. He was saying that, the business that I'm in is, all about the baristas, the customer, the supply chain, all these individuals that touch our business. And one of the things I think we have to think about is we don't know how, even at, we're not a Starbucks, or we're not an Apple, we're not a Microsoft, we're not a Tesla, we're not an Amazon, but we do touch people's lives. We do touch them, and we do understand if I'm thinking about this the right way, how will my product, my business change someone's life? And I heard Shaq make a comment on a video. He said he was listening to Jeff, I think it was Jeff Bezos of Amazon, and he said he heard him say, I'm looking, the kind of business I get, I look for the ones that will change someone's life, will change people's lives. I'm like, oh, I get that. If that is your goal, to really have an impact on individuals, to really disrupt something to the point that you change how people, do things. I mean, you look at Amazon, change the retail business. Look at Apple, change the phone. The phone business is changing the TV business. It's changing the music business. You can go throughout history and you can see where these disruptors, who have changed people's lives, hopefully in a positive way. And so, as an entrepreneur, one of the things I think we have to think about, if we think about it early enough, I know it's hard to think about it, changing the culture of the US, but How will it impact your family or friends or those employees, those, maybe 5 to 10 people you start with? How will it make their life different? What will it mean to them? I mean, I've seen this done in with a lot of entrepreneurs. You look around and they've been in business 20, 30 years, and they've touched tens of thousands of people's lives. And it can be an overwhelming thing when you think about it, but that's one of those things you have to, if you think about it on the front end, if you table the financial discussion at some point, and then you start thinking about, okay, we did the business and financial analysis, we got a view of what that may be. Okay, let's talk about the people. Let's talk about people. Let's talk about people internally to our venture. Let's talk about people, our customers outside. Let's talk about our suppliers. Let's talk about the community that we're doing business in. Those type of thoughts, those type of ideas, help you get through those rough times. And I can just speak for myself. It makes it easy when you want to walk away to say, you know what, I could walk away and go get me a really high paying job doing something else. But this is impacting somebody, really is enjoying what I'm doing, likes what I'm doing, is having an effect on their life. And it's going to have an effect on someone I don't know, their life. Those things are important, and we should never lose sight of them as entrepreneurs. So, in 2022, as we, you don't know what you don't know, and we start our process of how do we level up and really get a good, clear picture of where we want to take our businesses. Let's think about being okay with getting surprised and having opportunities to be better, meaning things you didn't know that you found, you realize, oh, this is important. And then also about people, the impact of what you're doing and how it can really impact other people's lives. I think those are some key things. If you keep those front of mind, throughout the year, they'll help you make good decisions. They'll help you weather the storms. They'll help you strengthen your resolve to be successful and to keep going with what your business venture is. Once again, this is Terry Armstrong. I'm the co-founder of TCM. Me and my partner, Rance John, me and my business partner, Rance John, we really appreciate everyone, connecting with us. Please go out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, TCM Lifestyle. Also follow us on social media, IG and Facebook, TCM Collection, and also on Pinterest at TCM Lifestyle. Until next week, as we talk about more ways to level up in 2022, thank you for listening. And once again, please figure out the people you can help and who you're touching, because it's really, really important. And please follow us again next week. Talk to you later. This is Terry. Bye.